Have you ever heard of the Raloi? No? What's up, Ensign Squad? How you doing? Today we're going to explore both the Raloi species and the virtual aliens in Mass Effect. What were they? Where did they come from? And why didn't we see them during the game? And lastly, what happened to them? Before we start, I just want to remind you guys to check out my other Mass Effect videos. If Mass Effect is your thing, then this channel is the place for you. Oh, and remember to leave a like. It helps the channel more than you think. So without further ado, let's go. Now, I don't blame you for not knowing about the Raloi. This race was only introduced in the last game of the Mass Effect trilogy, and considering that most of us were preoccupied with the stresses of saving the galaxy, the Raloi's presence pretty much go unnoticed during the game. So what are they? Well, the Raloi are avian in nature, meaning they are bird-like in appearance. They originate from the planet Turves, which unfortunately cannot be found on the galaxy map. After they launched their first space telescope from Turves, they detected an Asari cruiser in their system, whereby they made contact. Interestingly, the Elcor actually knew about the Raloi long before the Asari made first contact, but it's strange that no Elcor ever mentioned them before. Anyway, after the welcoming ceremony from the Council races, a Raloi delegation was sent to the Citadel in order to study and learn about Mass Effect technology and the Council races. This fanart piece right here is probably the closest depiction of a Raloi if we had met them in-game. They had to wear environmental suits since they purportedly started spreading an avian flu virus when the Raloi representatives met with some of the Citadel representatives. This was probably added to the description of the Raloi as sort of a reference or Easter egg to the H5N1 or H7N7 flu virus found in birds today. The first and only time you hear about the Raloi is after you enter the Spectre chambers on the Citadel embassy for the first time. It's pretty hard to hear the reporter talking here, but here's what she says.
In an apparent bid for self-preservation, the entire Raloi delegation has left the Citadel. In parting, Representative Arika said, "We have no wish to battle those who have yet to wrong us, nor have we the capability. The Raloi plan to destroy all artificial satellites and observation equipment they currently have in orbit. They say the Reapers will see them as a pre-spacefaring civilization and spare their planet. The Raloi species made first contact with the Asari and were formally welcomed into the galactic community last year. From across the Milky Way, this is the Alliance News Network."
So yeah, as soon as the Reaper invasion started, the Raloi delegation tucked their feathers between their legs and left for their homeworld. The Raloi then decided to cut off communications with the Citadel and destroyed all their satellites around Turves in the hopes that the Reapers would leave them alone, if they were considered too primitive. After this, it's unknown what happened to them, but chances are that they still got harvested, simply because information about them had already spread across the galaxy. And the Reapers probably would not be considering them too primitive since they had already visited the Citadel and knew about the threat of the Reapers. If the Reapers actually succeeded in their harvest and left the Raloi alone, the Raloi would have had 50,000 years to prepare for the next harvest. So yeah, if I were a Reaper, I would still harvest them. It's a shame that we didn't get to see these little birds in-game. It could have been cool seeing a new race getting introduced but then suddenly getting absolutely demolished by the Reapers. Which would in one way be pretty grim but also darkly humorous. I don't think that they could have picked the worst time to join the party.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
For the second race on our list, we'll be looking at the Virtual Aliens. The information on this mysterious race is even more elusive than the Raloi. The Virtual Aliens doesn't seem to have a name for their species, so for the purpose of this video, let's call them the Virtuals. So the Virtuals were a species that developed on an unknown planet. The species faced an imminent crisis whereby their sun was about to erupt in the form of a supernova. Because of this, the Virtuals decided to build a very advanced starship which contained a multitude of supercomputers, and so the Virtuals uploaded the minds of at least 1 billion individuals onto the ship. The starship was then overseen by an AI that would act as a caretaker for the people that were uploaded. On their voyage, the aliens were living in a virtual world created by the AI, sort of like a fabricated paradise. The starship was encountered in the Antillean system, which was Solarian space. The AI on the ship tried establishing contact with the Solarians, but was at first feared to be another Geth Vanguard ship, sort of like Sovereign was believed to be at first. A human researcher named Jordan Detweiler was the first person to make contact with the AI, and so it was revealed that the ship's onboard power was failing, and the Virtuals were on the verge of being wiped out because of this. The situation went through a lot of trials and tribulations, among them being the question of assisting an AI, as AIs were banned in Council space. In the end, the Council decided to help the Virtual Aliens and their AI, and so the Virtual Aliens were saved. To communicate, the Virtual Aliens swapped consciousness with different representative individuals. So while the aliens borrowed a host body, the host could explore the Virtual's world freely. It's not really explained how this worked, but I would think that by using the ship's onboard technology, an individual, say an Asari, could upload herself to the ship while an individual from the Virtuals uploaded itself to her body. In the end, some 400 individuals from the Council races decided to swap their bodies permanently with the Virtual Aliens. Some individuals just being tired of living in our universe. Now, this entire story can still be found in the Mass Effect wiki, where you can read the entire story of the Virtual Aliens. This story is considered canon and was uploaded back when the Mass Effect news network was still running. So there's no mention of the Virtual Aliens in-game, unfortunately. Now, you might have noticed that the species sound very reminiscent of something already. Yes, the Reapers. The Reapers also uploaded their respective harvested species individual persons into one mind.
My kind transcends your very understanding. We are each a nation, independent, free of all weakness. You cannot even grasp the nature of our existence.
It could have been cool seeing these aliens in-game, as they'd prove yet again that the Reapers were wrong. That creators and created could live in harmony, as this species did with their godlike AI. Because not only did the AI create a world for the Virtuals to live in, but it also saved them in the end. Now, one question that I can't stop thinking of is whether we'll see any of these guys in Mass Effect 4. Now, of course, this has not been alluded to in any way, but since we really don't know what happened to either of these races, chances are we might encounter them in the next Mass Effect. They could be a great addition to the roster of species, and since they already have a background, I'd say that they would be pretty easy to implement. What do you guys think? Do the Raloi and Virtuals seem interesting enough to warrant an appearance in the next Mass Effect? Leave your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching as always, Sven Squad. Have a great day.